why am I wearing cat ears today? Well, today is a celebration stream because today is just after the 5-year anniversary of me joining Varonis and beginning this stream. So this actually started out as an effort to create a YouTube channel that was a little closer to the nullbyte style. But then with the start of the pandemic, we primarily switched over to live streaming. And after some personnel shifts where we lost my former co-host, Michael Raymond, to his new virtual CISO role, where he's out advising medium and small businesses all over Montana about their security posture, we switched mostly to live streaming and doing events. So we've been doing that for quite some time now. But 5 years is when I actually started this whole journey and began coming up with the first episodes and putting them out. So I wanted to take this stream to kind of reflect on that a little bit, go through some of the highlights of the Security Forward channel, and also thank all of you for getting us here. We are just shy of 60,000 subscribers, and having that many people to speak to is incredible. And already I heard from some of the people at Varonis this week that some of their like sales prospects and stuff were actually fans of the show, which I imagine was kind of their intention. Oh, you can barely see the ears. I have to go all the way over here. There we go. But yes, I've put up some of my favorite badges, some of which have been badges that I went to while representing the show. And yeah, overall, it has been an amazing experience to be able to meet all of you, create this forum for talking to each other. I know a lot of you are also active on our Discord server. So I just wanted to thank all of you for being a part of growing this channel. And when I started at Varonis, I wasn't exactly sure where things were going to take me. I had a lot of opportunities back then. I mean, I was on the Hack 5 show. I was still making nullbyte episodes. There really was a lot of stuff I could do. And after my experience at a startup that, let's say, rhymes with Boober, I wasn't necessarily eager to jump back into working at a corporation. So initially when Varonis reached out, I kind of like kept my distance, and I was looking them up and looking at Glassdoor. And then I went and I spoke to some of their employees. And I think Haley Norman was one of the first people I talked to. And I was like, hey, like, do you feel like you could just email the CEO if you had to? And she'd be like, well, that would be weird, but like, I don't feel like I'd get in trouble for it. They just have to be like, why are you talking to Yaki? You know, like, what's the big deal? So I didn't get the feeling that there was as much craziness as there was at a lot of the big corporations or even big tech startups that I had worked at before. So with that good impression, and then with the understanding that I would be able to create content the way I wanted to, I'd be able to continue to educate people and make useful, interesting, and fun things for the cybersecurity community, I eventually decided to join. And it's been a journey involving a lot of my closest friends, a lot of other content creators that you've probably seen. And we've had a lot of really awesome people on the show. We've had a lot of interesting iterations and permutations. So I wanted to show kind of what we won from this process. Like after all of this time and all of this energy, like we've really made a number of episodes and a number of pieces of content that I think are really great for the community, that were really fun, that explored new areas. And I wanted to shout some of them out. So one of them, let me turn on my screen here, is the very first episode we ever did, and one of our best performing episodes. This was hacking computers from blocks away with a Wi-Fi duck. So I'm going to mute this for myself and also speed it all the way through. But this episode basically used the exact same set as Nullbyte. I came up with kind of like a new sign off, and then we had this like, we made like a new intro, like just for the Security Forward channel. Oh, and it even included the Varonis logo. So we wanted to see if you could use a couple of microcontrollers to do the same thing that a more expensive product, a USB rubber ducky, does. What's the actual range on this? Like, everybody knows what the USB rubber ducky is at this point, or at least most people do. It's a little USB device that looks like a thumb drive, but when you plug it in, it instead behaves like a keyboard and sends out a lot of keystrokes. And that can be used to do all sorts of things. Anything that it can do, you could do sitting behind a computer typing. So there's really a lot there. There's really a lot that you could do, but you have to pre-compile some of these scripts. There are some disadvantages here. And a friend of mine at the time, Spacehoon, decided he wanted to make a tool that stuck two microcontrollers together and got the same effect, but with Wi-Fi remote control. So this manifested as the Wi-Fi duck. So this was a ESP8266, this SparkFun Pro Micro. And what's cool about this is the ESP8266 here has Wi-Fi capability. The Pro Micro has the ability to show up as a native USB device and also do keystroke attacks. So Spacehoon basically just slapped these two suckers together with this printed circuit board and had them work together. Now, what's cool is when you plug this in, both of them are powered off of the same USB power supply. So that means you can link these two devices together and create a third device that has not a ThinkPad. Sorry, that was misleading. But you can slap these two microcontrollers together and create something that's like a USB rubber ducky, but with Wi-Fi control. So this has actually kind of been superseded because nowadays you can actually do this on a single microcontroller. And for example, this USB nugget uses the ESP32S2, which was one of the first microcontrollers that was very cheap and easily available to combine both of these superpowers and make it so you can use a single board to achieve this effect. But this was the first time that I had really seen a cheap and easy to acquire design that blended both of these abilities. And I thought this was cool enough to do a range test. So we went ahead, we slapped this together, and then we were kind of using a directional antenna here. You can see the Simple Wi-Fi antenna. Simple Wi-Fi is incredible in that they gave us this crazy Yagi antenna, which is encased in that like clear tube. And that gave us high directionality to reach out and touch this device a lot further than we expected. So we decided to set up a demo at the Americana. We had our friend here sitting in a coffee shop, and we had one person who snuck in and plugged something into their device. We had our second hacker here across the street. Somebody plugged that in and sat down. Our hacker, Michael, from across the street was able to send a payload, and there we go. It ran the payload, executed, and then I used a little piece of fishing wire to unplug it before our victim came back. Kind of like people always ask us, like, how would a bad USB attack look in real life? Well, we staged one as close as possible where we're basically plugging it in. And the advantage here is that the hacker doesn't have to know what kind of operating system they're going up against. They can text their accomplice and say, hey, it's a MacBook Pro. And then that person can pull up a MacBook Pro backdoor script. The attacker can plug it in. Their accomplice sends over the script really quickly. And then boom, we have a successful bad USB attack from a couple of blocks away at the least. So I thought this was really cool because you could have two people working together and only one of them is kind of exposing themselves to the risk. And the use of fishing wire to kind of pull it out at the end, I thought was kind of clever.